and welcome back to the General Chat film review. We have a very full episode this week, including my review from the opening weekend of DC's Black Adam. I also have a review from the home video release of Bullet Train, the latest action film from David Leitch. I also have my first impressions of films currently streaming, Prey and Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Both of which started streaming this year. And to wrap everything up, I will have a review of the magic heist film Now You See Me Too, an underrated personal favourite of mine. Please be aware that the way I present my reviews may continually change as I get used to the new formula. Black Adam is the latest DCEU film to be released after a long series of disappointments, which were only broken by Shazam and James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Black Adam was also the subject of skepticism amongst the fandom due to lead star Dwayne Johnson's over-enthusiastic hyping of the film since the first DC fandom event. However, I saw Black Adam opening weekend, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was, telling a tale about superhero ethics and morality, whilst balancing a dark and gritty tone that was prevalent throughout the early DCEU films, but it actually worked well in this film. I also felt that Dwayne Johnson gave what is probably a career-best performance, given that he typically plays similar clean-cut black and white good guys across all his most famous films. I also thought that actors Aldous Hodge and Sarah Shahi gave great performances in the film, enabling them to layer their characters. I gave this film 4.5 stars out of 5. Okay. This week saw the home media release of David Leitch's Bullet Train, an action roller coaster set on a Japanese bullet train and starring Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Joey King, and Hiroyuki Sanada. Now, Leitch's previous action exploits are famous in the forms of Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw, and an uncredited co-director's role on the first John Wick film. Now, I believe that there's two ways to look at this film. You can either look at it as the absolute fun, excellent adventure that it is, or you can look at it as an absolute letdown of a film. Now, I personally choose to enjoy it because I think it's a good film. There's great direction, great action, choreography, as well as enjoyable performances from Pitt, Taylor-Johnson, and Tyree Henry. I give this film 4 out of 5 stars. This past week, I finally had an opportunity to check out the 5th film in the Predator franchise, Prey, after it was previously released back in August. For those unfamiliar with Prey, it features Legion actress Amber Midthunder as a young Comanche woman who is desperate to prove herself as a hunter in a misogynistic environment, so when the alien predator arrives in 18th century America, she decides to prove herself by hunting the creature. Now, I felt that the film had a solid idea at the core of the film, despite it being one you might see commonplace these days. And the directing and fight choreography are good, with Midthunder giving a solid lead performance, despite the fact that the CGI is weak and the script is rushed. I gave this film 3.5 stars out of 5. Next up is the Jujutsu Kaisen prequel, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, which revolves around a young man named Yuta who has been inflicted with a special grade curse in the form of his childhood friend and fiancée Rika, so he is compelled to enroll in Tokyo Jujutsu Technical High and learn to fight curses. As fans will know, this is a prequel to the main series, and thus supporting characters from the main series appear in central roles. Now, I thought this film was excellent, with great animation, directing, and fight sequences, and I gave it the full 5 stars out of 5. And finally, we have a retrospective review of the action heist film Now You See Me 2, a sequel to 2013's Now You See Me, and stars Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco, and Mark Ruffalo. It revolves around a group of Robin Hood magicians known as the Four Horsemen, as they get kidnapped by a presumed dead billionaire played by Daniel Radcliffe, so they can steal an ultimate computer chip in China. Now, I felt that this film was better than the first film as it got bigger in terms of visuals as well as world building, and the cast still have good chemistry even after a shake-up between movies. The film also allowed itself to build on what came before and set up a good foundation for what's to come, even if we frustratingly don't know when that will be. I gave this film 4 out of 5 stars. Now that's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back in next week. I don't know yet what I'll be talking about. Hopefully it'll be Top Gun Maverick. I also want to briefly take the opportunity to mention that I have plans to do a weekly anime podcast, but nothing is solid yet. See you next week.